The Tale of Arjun and the Mountain Monastery. In the foothills of the eastern mountains, nestled among trees that whispered ancient secrets and streams that glistened like silver, lay a secluded monastery. It was a place where monks lived in peace, devoting their lives to meditation, knowledge, and mastering the art of stillness. The monastery, surrounded by towering peaks, was a place of wisdom, where the few who came found not just solace, but also answers to the deepest questions of their hearts. Among the monks was a young man named Arjun, who had been brought to the monastery as a child. Orphaned at a young age, the monks had taken him in, raising him like one of their own. Arjun, though quick to learn and eager to serve, struggled with one thing: he didn't believe in himself. Though he followed the strict routines, chanted the ancient sutras, and listened to the teachings, a seed of doubt grew within him. He felt small, unworthy, and incapable of ever becoming wise like the elders around him. While others around him were finding peace, Arjun only found more questions, and the loudest one was always, "Who am I to think I can achieve anything great?" The elder monk's challenge. One day, after a particularly disheartening morning, Arjun sat alone near the edge of a steep cliff, his thoughts heavy. His mentor, Elder Saran, approached quietly and sat beside him. The elder monk was known for his deep wisdom and even deeper silence. He was the kind of man who spoke few words, but when he did, they had the weight of the mountains behind them. "Arjun," Elder Saran began softly, gazing out at the horizon. "I see your struggle. You think you are not enough." Arjun lowered his head. He had tried to hide his doubts, but it seemed Elder Saran could read them as easily as the ancient texts. "I am nothing like the others," Arjun whispered. "I will never be as wise or as strong. I don't have what it takes." Elder Saran smiled gently and said, "Come with me. I have something to show you." The two walked together through the forest, the sound of their footsteps blending with the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves. After what felt like hours, they arrived at a large, moss-covered rock at the base of the highest mountain. The elder monk pointed to the rock and said, "I want you to move this rock to the other side of the path." Arjun's eyes widened. The rock was massive, far too heavy for anyone to move, let alone a single monk. "Master, I can't," Arjun began, but Elder Saran cut him off. "Just try." Arjun hesitated but then stepped forward. He put his hands on the cold surface of the rock and pushed with all his might. His muscles strained, his breath quickened, but the rock didn't budge. He tried again and again until his arms ached and his legs felt like jelly, but still, the rock remained immovable. Finally, out of breath, Arjun collapsed to the ground. "I told you," he panted, "I can't do it. It's impossible." Elder Saran looked down at him, his eyes kind but firm. "Indeed, you cannot move this rock by yourself. But let me ask you, Arjun, did I ever tell you to move it alone?" Arjun looked up, confused. "You assumed you had to do this by yourself. You placed the burden of impossibility on your own shoulders, never considering that you could ask for help. The world, the universe, is full of support if you allow yourself to see it. Why do you believe that you must face every challenge alone?" The elder monk then gestured around them. "Look at the trees, the birds, the water. Do you think they exist in isolation? No. The tree needs the soil, the water needs the stream, and the birds need the wind. Everything in this world is connected. And so are you." Arjun sat in silence, reflecting on the elder's words. "Come," Elder Saran said, "we will return tomorrow. But remember this, you are never alone in your struggles." The journey of the mountain path. That night, Arjun couldn't sleep. Elder Saran's words echoed in his mind. He realized that his entire life, he had been trying to prove himself, to others, to the monks, and to some idea of perfection he thought he needed to attain. But perhaps, just perhaps, he had been looking at it all wrong. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the peaks of the mountains, Arjun set out once again to the rock. But this time, he wasn't alone. He gathered a group of his fellow monks, each strong and willing to help. Together, they devised a plan, using levers and ropes, working in unison to move the rock that had seemed so immovable the day before. As they worked, Arjun felt a change within himself. For the first time, he wasn't focused on his own perceived weaknesses. Instead, he found strength in the collective effort, in the knowledge that he didn't have to carry the weight of the world alone. After hours of labor, the rock finally shifted, moving to the other side of the path. Arjun stood, sweating and exhausted, but for the first time in a long while, he smiled. The rock had moved, not because of his strength alone, but because he had allowed himself to lean on others. Elder Saran, who had been watching from a distance, approached. "You see, Arjun, believing in yourself does not mean you have to do everything alone. It means trusting that you have the ability to find solutions, even when they require the help of others. True self-belief is knowing that you are part of something greater." Arjun nodded, the lesson sinking in deeper than any words had before. The final test. Weeks passed, and Arjun's understanding of self-belief grew. He began to trust himself more, not because he had suddenly gained extraordinary abilities, but because he no longer doubted his place in the world. He saw himself as part of the intricate web of life, where each person, each action, contributed to a larger whole. But there was one final test. One day, Elder Saran summoned Arjun and said, "There is a sacred scroll at the top of the highest peak. You must retrieve it." Arjun's heart sank. The peak was notorious. Many monks had attempted the climb, but few had succeeded. The path was treacherous, and the winds at the summit were fierce. "I don't think I can do this," Arjun said quietly. Elder Saran placed a hand on his shoulder. "The only way to know is to try. Trust in yourself, and remember what you have learned." With a deep breath, Arjun set off. The climb was arduous. The path was narrow, the rocks sharp, and the wind howled around him like a chorus of doubts. Every step felt like a battle against the elements, and more than once, he considered turning back. But each time doubt crept in, Arjun remembered the rock. He remembered the monks who had helped him. He remembered Elder Saran's words, "True self-belief is knowing that you are part of something greater." And so, step by step, Arjun pressed on. After what felt like an eternity, Arjun reached the summit. The winds were fierce, but there, nestled among the rocks, was the sacred scroll. As he held it in his hands, a profound realization washed over him. The climb had been difficult, yes, but the hardest part had been the battle within his own mind, the part that told him he couldn't do it. Once he silenced that voice, he found the strength he didn't know he had. The return. When Arjun returned to the monastery, Elder Saran was waiting for him. Arjun handed him the scroll, his face shining with a newfound confidence. "You have learned well," Elder Saran said, his eyes full of pride. "The greatest journey is not the one up the mountain, but the one within yourself. You now understand that believing in yourself does not mean you will never doubt, but that you will move forward in spite of it. You are capable, Arjun. You always have been." From that day on, Arjun walked the halls of the monastery not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence. He had learned that self-belief was not about being perfect or never needing help, it was about trusting in his own ability to learn, to grow, and to overcome, no matter the challenges ahead. And so, in the quiet monastery nestled in the mountains, a young monk named Arjun found the greatest wisdom of all, the strength to believe in himself. The lesson. This story of Arjun shows us that self-belief is not about being fearless or flawless. It's about recognizing that we are part of something greater, and that we have the strength to face challenges, whether alone or with the help of others. Self-doubt is a natural part of the journey, but like Arjun, we can overcome it by trusting in our own abilities and in the support of those around us.